What's up, y'all? I'm Customized Key and I'm back with another video. Today we are doing a 3-in-1 for the College Finesse Prep. We're going to be talking about Greek life, and we're also going to be answering a couple of questions that I've personally gotten over the years, and we're going to be talking about the Burning Sands video, movie, documentary, whatever you want to call it, that came out on Netflix not too long ago. Now, I am not Greek. Let me just make that very clear. I am not Greek. Have I had experience with Greek life? Do I have Greek friends? Absolutely. Greek life was a major role in my time in college. I met a lot of great people because of their involvement in Greek life, because of me hanging out with different people, different organizations, wanting to know different things, participating in different community involvement activities, and things of that nature. So I had a really good chance to see what Greek life was like, not only at Michigan State, but traveling to other schools in the state of Michigan also gave me a pretty big umbrella of how to classify Greek life and things that how I understand Greek life in general. It was this documentary or movie that came out. A lot of people were talking about it, mostly Greeks, and it's a movie about a guy who wants to join an organization, and it shows their journey through them becoming members and their initiation process through what's called like Hell Week or whatever. So basically they were like being hazed. I don't know if you guys know anything about hazing, but most organizations are non-hazing organizations, and that means that they say that they will not basically take advantage of you physically, financially, or anything of that nature. Like, they won't make you do stuff to kind of like prove your loyalty or whatever. Now, in some situations, in some chapters, in some schools, that is very much true. It is literally a, take the national test, you sign up, you pay your money, you in. Other organizations and other chapters are very much not like that. But in this movie, this particular chapter, they definitely were being hazed. They were made to go get food for the members of the organization who were already in that chapter. They were required to stay up late at night. They had to learn a lot of information. They, were hit on, they were spit on, they were a lot of different things. So if you don't know what all it entails, it's kind of a spoiler, sorry, but I'm not going to tell everything. But definitely take a look at it. Now, my personal reaction to it. So as soon as I finished watching it, there were a lot of things that went through my mind. Number one, I feel as though some of it was very accurate. Some of it was very much so true. It was nothing short of some of the stories that I have heard from friends, from family members who are Greek and went through their process. To them, some of the stuff that went on in that movie, they were like, oh, that's nothing. But knowing, having that background, having that, knowledge from those friends, it doesn't surprise me. Now, had I had no idea of Greek life and that was the first thing that I saw, I would definitely be like, no, who would sign up for that? Who in their right mind would just subject themselves to something like that? And again, I'll say that I had a very unsettling feeling about that movie, because it just made me question a lot of things. It made me wonder why I have seen and heard people do the things that they do. What I also feel that should have been done in the movie is that I feel that the people who were going through their process should have maybe taken more time beforehand to get to know the people of that chapter. I feel that there were a lot of things that were done on a very impersonal level, and that there weren't relationships that were built before that for things to have happened within their process the way that they did. Now, again, I am not Greek. I have never been on anybody's line. I have never tried to join any organization. Have I been approached? Yeah. Witnessed things that I know I should not have witnessed? Yes. Have I heard conversations that I know was none of my business? Yes. However, I never talked about those things outside of that environment. Many times I've had people ask me, how do you know so much about Greek life? Oh, you must have been online and you must have dropped. Oh, you must have been interested in an org and they didn't pick you, so now you was interested in something else. Wrong, wrong, and wrong. I know a lot about Greek life because I wanted to know a lot about Greek life, so I did my research. More specifically, when it comes to like Black Greek lettered organizations, there are plenty of books. The one main book that I'll say is called The History of the Divine Nine, and it can be found in any library across any city in any state. I'll also put the link in the description box, maybe for like Amazon, so if people want to look it up. But definitely read the book. It has very good stories in it. It has excerpts from people who are from different chapters, different states, different parts of the world. Like, just do your research. It's not hard. Me being friends with many people who became Greek in college is honestly how I started getting into arts and crafts. I just wanted to make something nice for my friends once they completed their process, once they were offline, and I wanted them to have something nice. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me make them something. So I got into making candles and mini posters and staffs and everything that you could think of. Like, I was sewing Greek letters that I dyed by hand onto like bucket hats and t-shirts and everything. So, even without being Greek, there was a lot that I learned just from being around people who were Greek, being around people who, were involved in community service, were involved in organizations, and were involved in organizations that were not the same ones. So I have many friends that are Zetas. I have many friends that are SG Rose. I have friends that are Deltas. I have friends that are AKAs. I have friends from every single D9 organization that you can think of. I think that just having that exposure to so many different types of organizations and so many variations of people definitely contributed to my overall thought and my overall idea of what Greek life actually is. And to be honest with you, it just can't be summed up into one sentence. It can't be summed up. But what I will say is that from having friends that are Greek, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about other people. I learned a lot about what it means to be discreet, what it means to know when and where to be quiet, when it means to, not necessarily discuss what I've seen or what I've heard or what I've experienced. And in doing that, I found that my college experience was a lot more enjoyable. I was never, ever, hardly involved in any drama, and that's one of the things that I really did enjoy, so I'm going to include that as my tip. Be open-minded when you meet people. I know that there are organizations that have many different stereotypes, that have many different stigmas, and one thing that I really want to stress is that it's important to separate people from organizations. Many times you'll hear Greeks say things like, I'm an individual before I'm a member of XYZ organization. And that's because sometimes people get so caught up in what they've heard about an organization that they don't really take the time to get to know the people who are actually in that organization. Many times what I found is that one person will have a negative encounter with a couple of people from the same organization, and then now the whole organization or the whole chapter has this negative stigma that, oh, the K's they just stuck up, and oh, the Deltas, they just some tomboys, they roughnecks, and oh, I heard all the Iotas was just like, no, you have to learn how to separate people from organizations. Sometimes there are things that, okay, if everybody's saying the same thing, everybody can't be wrong. However, you also should just, in your mind, have a filter of, okay, is this a chapter thing? Is this an organization thing? Is this a isolated situation with this one group of people? So I feel that is one of the things that most people really do misconstrue when they go to college and they have these negative stigmas. But again, if everybody's saying the same thing, In the event that you are curious about Greek life, what are my tips for like people who are interested? What is my advice? This is what I will say. There are a lot of things that I feel that people should do if they are considering Greek life, being a member of Greek life. I've had many friends who I have had these conversations with. I've had friends who knew something about Greek life. I've had friends who knew absolutely nothing. And in them wanting to be Greek, I definitely was a resource for them in figuring out maybe what org they wanted to join, why they wanted to join it. And these are all very important things. I'm the type of person, if I want to know something, I'm going to find out. I'm not going to let anybody tell me or form an idea of what something is. I'm going to find out for myself. I'm going to listen.
Everybody can't be
to everybody who's willing to talk. But I think when it comes to Greek life, and a lot of times you should listen to the people.
Don't try to always put people into this box.
Others may be trying to shut up.
People are like Christmas kids.
Only because people only shut up the people who tell the truth. Yes, you have people who tell the truth, but they don't tell you everything. And to be honest, everything doesn't need to be told. And that's another thing. When it comes to Greek life, discretion is a very big thing. Everybody don't need to know all your business. Everybody don't need to know what org you interested in, who you hanging out with, who you doing what with, none of that. So my tips for people who are interested: 1, do your research. Do your research on the organization. Do your research on the things that are important to that organization. If they have pillars, how you need to find out what are the important structural things that organization upholds. That's very important, because that will more than likely make everything that organization does make sense. You need to, so let's just say that at Michigan State, I was interested in being in Alpha sorority. Some of the things I would do is go to the library and see if there are any books on that organization, and I read them. I will go online, look at online forums. Like, there are plenty of open chat rooms and online forums that Greeks have conversations in about various things. And you could definitely look those up. I would look up maybe things that are important to them. So let's say Alpha is this, it's a community service organization. And in order for me to join that organization, I might see what they have on their national website. So I might look up and say, okay, the national website is telling me I need to have a 3.0 GPA. I need to have at least 1,000 hours of documented community service. I need to have, letters of recommendation from maybe a college counselor or RA or something like that. But these are all things that I would need to know if I was really serious about wanting to be in this organization. So even if I was curious about an organization, I might go on YouTube and look that up. I might see, okay, what do their probates look like? Probates. These are your new member presentation shows, right? So they could be anything from just a brief little, these are our new members, to a whole production. I'll also put links to a few probate videos that I have recorded. I would also just get to know the people who are in the chapter. Look at the type of people that are in the chapter of that organization. Outside of that, other tips that I would give for people who are interested is to close your mouth. Close your mouth. And I only say that because when people know that you're interested in stuff, it just makes everything messy. It puts people in your business. And if your chapter is the type of chapter that has a process, people are going to pay attention to that. Ooh, is this person off of social media? How long it's been since they posted something on Instagram? Are they on Snapchat? Are they on Facebook? Do they, they're going to look for those things. People are going to talk about it. The best way to keep people out of your business is not to tell them anything about it. So if you're interested in Greek life, I would definitely say, 1, get to know the people in your chapter. Only because, in contrast to my belief of the outcome of the Burning Sands movie, I feel like if they had taken time to get to know the people in that chapter, their process might have been a little bit different, because there would have been a lot more trust there. When you go into an organization and you have people there that it creates this environment of comfort. And knowing that, having a relationship with someone who's already in the organization, one, they're going to tell you a few things that are going to help you out, but two, you know that they have your best interest at heart. You know that they are not going to let anything bad happen to you. And even through the bad stuff, they're not going to push you to your limits. They're not going to necessarily put you in harm's way because they genuinely care for you. When you don't have that relationship with someone beforehand, there are a lot of different variables that go into them getting to know you. And under the circumstance of you being online or going through a process to try to join their organization, you have to prove yourself to them, which is okay. But I feel like in the Burning Sands clip, what was not necessarily exercised correctly was the extent of which that was taken. I'm not going to tell you guys what happened at the end of the movie. However, just know that I feel like if there was a little more time taken and a time spent ahead of time, that some things may have been a lot different and there might have been many different outcomes. I know that there's been a lot of negative backlash, but again, I feel that building relationships is so important. Just having talks with people, getting to know people from the chapter, from the organization, outside of the context of them being wearing the hat of their organization. Hang out with them on the weekends. See what they like when they drunk. See what they like when they, are studying. See what they like when they just have spare time. Try to hang out with these people. Don't pressure them. And by all means, don't DS them. And y'all know what I mean. Don't DS people. Just be genuine, be yourself, and it will make people have a lot more respect for you in the end. What I will say is that if you're considering joining Greek life, if you know that you want to be a part of Greek life, 1, keep it to yourself. 2, do your research. 3, get to know people. So that in the event that you might need a letter of recommendation or you might need somebody to vouch for you and vouch for your character, you have multiple people that can do that for you. Just make yourself known. Socialize, not only with members of that organization, but with just people in general. Go to programs, go to events, go to fundraisers, support organizations with your presence. You don't necessarily have to contribute to conversation when you're there. I mean, it's great. But I would definitely say that you should have all of these things done before you attend anyone's interest meeting. And if you don't know what an interest meeting is, you haven't done enough research. So yes, definitely make sure that you have your community service hours up. Make sure that you are active on campus. So maybe join an organization or something. Do something on campus where people oh, I know of this person. Make sure that you are well put together before anybody knows you as a member of that organization that you may be interested. Thanks for tuning in with me. I hope this video has given you guys a lot of insight on Greek life. I hope you are going to watch The Burning Sands just so that you can formulate your own opinions on it. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, write down in the comments below if you have any other topics that you want me to talk about. Keep up with me on Snapchat and Instagram. There's many more to come, and I will see y'all next time. Booyah!